Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I'm starting my newest series on Jupiter through the houses in Synastry, so in a relationship astrology. Now, this one, I'm talking about Jupiter falling into someone's first house in Synastry. So Jupiter, the planet representing our joy, our faith, where we're naturally really gifted, where things can be easy for us, where we're lucky, where we're blessed. And it's also a portion of our masculine energy as well, kind of like the father energy, but the more open and generous father, whereas Saturn is kind of like the more critical father. So this one we're starting with first, not just because we're doing it in order, but because this one is so powerful. I'm also going to put a slash in this video, slash Jupiter conjunct ascendant, Synastry. This might be the best Synastry overlay or the best Synastry aspect that you could possibly have, that can even so much as mute other Synastry aspects or, turn them down a notch, okay? That is the power of Jupiter. So Jupiter is my favorite planet. It's the biggest energy. It's where we're the most expansive and generous. And when we have strong Jupiter conjunctions or overlays like this in Synastry, we can really get along even despite other extremely difficult Synastry aspects, okay? So sometimes you'll see a couple with just horrendous Synastry or composite aspects that are just so difficult and bad. And then one of their Jupiters is conjunct the other's ascendant or sun or moon or Venus. And they get along. And they see each other in a positive light despite their differences. And that's really the gift of Jupiter. And it's not in a diluted way like Neptune can be. It's actually in a true way that we can see each other when we have Jupiter aspects like this. So when someone's Jupiter is falling into our first house, they really reinforce our identity in a big way. This is a very comfortable aspect to have where even if there's other difficult aspects that would show awkwardness, the house person naturally just opens up to the Jupiter person really easily with this one. And they can easily feel like the Jupiter person is like a fan or like a supporter. Now, the first house is also a physical house representing the physical body. So you could even see the house person, and this could be subconscious or unconscious, this happening, but the house person could be more physical or more confident in their body with the Jupiter person around. Like, depending on the nature of their first house or their ascendant, the house person could feel quite physically comfortable, like, wanting to move physically closer, or it could feel sexual, although Jupiter is not necessarily a sexual planet, but it's just like if there's other overlays showing that kind of stuff, the Jupiter person's influence on the first house person can really make them feel more comfortable and confident in their body. Like, you could see them having, like, bigger movements, like, hey, hey, Jupiter, like, what's up, and it's interesting how that works. So this is definitely a confidence boosting overlay. And now with the Jupiter person, they feel like they are a fan of the house person, and that the house person or the ascendant person acts in a way that is right and good and natural and even inspiring to them. They could feel a lot of inspiration in the house person or the ascendant person's presence. They could want to learn from them or be comfortable in either the teacher or the student role. And it can kind of switch here, although, the Jupiter person can be more of the teacher in some ways, but it can also kind of switch where this is a growth-oriented relationship. And it definitely can give each other a boost of faith. Like, if you've been down and out and physically unhealthy or unfit or miserable, being around someone whose Jupiter is conjunct your ascendant, or it can really, or in your first house, it can really bring you back to life and inspire you and make you feel more confident. Now, the Jupiter person could even bring big blessings into the ascendant person's life, because Jupiter is kind of like the beneficiary, and they can really, like, when your Jupiter is conjunct someone's point or planet, you can really give to them a lot in this open-hearted, generous way. And the thing with Jupiter, though, is, like, it's not like giving in the sense of, like, Neptune, where you're, like, giving and giving and giving, and it's, like, unconditional love, and, like, but then you're being taken advantage of. It's not like that. It's like when you give from your Jupiter, you become more abundant as well. It's like the law of giving, or the law of abundance and generosity is like, when the Jupiter person gives to the house person, they also receive and become more abundant. So this could be like a wealth building interaction. You could see this interaction increasing the wealth or abundance or spiritual growth or intelligence or knowledge in both parties here. You could also see, I mean, with Jupiter, increase is natural. They could overindulge together, like, so, overeating, overspending, overdoing things, just kind of going overboard. You have to look at the personalities, what sign is Jupiter in, because they could get into some bad habits together because Jupiter just does feel so good. So that would be the negative side of this placement, is that you don't tell each other to tone it down or, not eat that second dessert or whatever, because you just want to do everything. And when we have a fire planet like Jupiter coming into a fire house, like the first, things can get heated and active, and, overdoing things is a possibility, but usually it works out. You want to look at the aspects of Jupiter and, what other aspects are going on here, because when Jupiter is falling in such a prominent place, like the first house, those aspects will be deeply felt. So positive aspects will be very obvious, and so will the more difficult or challenging aspects. Now, the difficult or challenging aspects won't necessarily take away the benefits of this overlay, but they will be just as prevalent as the natural enthusiasm and goodness of this particular overlay. But it's definitely one of those ones that you just like each other a lot. And there can be a theme of growth, like the Jupiter person can really teach the house person and expand their life in some major way. And so there can be a lot of gratefulness from the house person. They can feel like the Jupiter is like a savior almost, or like it's parental, but it's not so like Jupiter is more like the cool dad or something. So yeah, it can be a good one. There can be a lot of laughter, and even to just observe people having this overlay, you're gonna see like giddiness and childlike energy and joy. That's a big part of Jupiter that I think is often overlooked, is the joy that we feel. Whenever I think of Jupiter, I think of like the fat Buddha that's so joyful. There's a bit of that energy in this particular overlay. So it's definitely very favorable to have. Jupiter in any place is good, but when Jupiter is coming in the first house of self and the physical body and the identity, this can be just a saving grace, like a really powerful positive influence that can help you withstand a lot of other difficult aspects in the synastry. Now, the first house person can also really feel like a reinforcement of their identity. Like they can really be themselves. They can really act easily and feel like a more confident version of themselves, versus like when someone's Saturn is falling into your first house, and it's kind of makes you think more about how you're acting and whether it's right or not. But this is more like a natural feeling of comfort and ease and sociability and warmth and grace. So it can be quite powerful, and it's definitely felt by both people. The Jupiter person can feel extremely giddy and joyful and laughter, and they just want to give to the house person. They can definitely feel like a fan, or like the house person is just a wonderful person that they can feel blessed to know. So the giving is mutual, but when someone's Jupiter is conjunct or in one of these powerful houses, they can really be a generous influence on our life. So I'd love to know your experience of this overlay. Was it like this? Was it not? Do you love Jupiter as much as I do? Yeah. I think that's all I'll say about this one. So we'll talk soon. Okay. Love you guys. Bye.